सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचम् रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम। Bhagwan Shri Krishna has started giving his upadesha, his teaching to Arjuna. And until this point we had seen that Bhagwan is a very compassionate teacher. And Bhagwan's way of teaching is such, he says it doesn't matter what I know. What matters is what Arjuna has understood. Because what Bhagwan wants to accomplish at the end of the day is that Arjuna should become free from sorrow. So he tried his first teaching, that was from Atma standpoint. He says, Arjuna, if you have understood yourself as Atma, no need to grieve. And lot of description was given. What is nature of Atma? What is nature of this world? Then Bhagwan comes one level down and says, even if you take yourself as Jiva, nothing to worry. Because Jiva is Anadi, take care of karma, everything is taken care of. Because Bhagwan is here to make sure karma phala is given to everybody in the right way. Then from body standpoint, he mentioned also all that we had seen until this point. Now Bhagwan uses a language which is more familiar to Arjuna, but most importantly, very familiar to all of us. Asking the question, do you consider yourself to be Atma or Jiva or Deha? This question itself sometimes seems little far-fetched or some very technical question. But if somebody asks us, do you think yourself to be a doctor or not? Do you think yourself to be engineer or not? A musician, a social worker? When you ask this question, you say, oh yes, I think I am that. So Bhagwan says, let me catch hold of that thread and see whether another way of thinking works for Arjuna. So this standpoint is called Swadharma standpoint, a very transactional identity that we have taken upon ourselves or society has given to us. In the case of Arjuna, he is a warrior, he is a Kshatriya. He relates more with that identity than anything else right now. In Hindi, they say, nas pakadna, means, you find the right thread to open a conversation such that that other person starts responding to you. So Bhagwan catches hold of the right point where he can open up things for Arjuna. So let us see now verse number 31st. Swadharmamapi chaveksha Swadharmamapi chaveksha navikampitum arhasi dharmyadhiyuddhat shreyonyate kshatriyasya na vidyate swadharmamapi chaveksha navikampitum arhasi dharmyadhiyuddhat shreyonyate kshatriyasya na vidyate. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, even if you look at it from Swadharma standpoint, Swadharmam api cha avekshya na vikampitum arhasi. This response of yours to start trembling, to be wanting to run away, all of this is not appropriate, even if you look at it from your professional standpoint. Why? Because this is dharma yuddha. Dharmyadhi yuddha shreyonyata. Greater than the duty assigned to you because of this role that you have, greater than that dharma, there is nothing else. Dharmyadhi yuddha shreyonyata kshatriyasya na vidyate. So for a kshatriya, fighting a battle is his duty. So there is nothing greater than that swadharma of yours. Okay, this is the literal meaning of that verse. And Arjuna, all of us know that he was such a great warrior. It is said when Karna used to break his, the what do you call that? Bow is the thing that you hold, but a thread, that thing that is tied up there. So when he used to cut that string of that bow, before he could take out another arrow, Arjuna would already be ready with another bow. Means he could tie it so fast that, even opposition, they used to appreciate Arjuna. Every small child in that Hastinapura, who do you want to become when you grow up? They say, I want to become like Arjuna. This was his fame. He had helped even Indra won over Lord Shiva, or he fought very valiantly against Lord Shiva. Did not get defeated. Such was our Arjuna. And now Bhagavan says, even if you look at it from your Kshatriya Dharma standpoint, this response is not appropriate. Now, this is the first time probably where we are seeing the word Swadharma. It's a very beautiful topic. One of the apurvata, one of the uniqueness of Bhagavad Gita is its elaboration on Swadharma. Our Gurudev probably was one of the best exponent of this topic, and he has brought it out so beautifully, right? How we should understand Swadharma. Before we go to Swadharma, we should see another topic, which is called as Varna Vyavastha. Varna Vyavastha, I am hesitant to translate it directly in the English word, because many a times, whenever we start discussing that topic, some erroneous notions which we have gathered for whatever reasons, that alone we hold on to and miss the main point. But for context, Varna Vyavastha, the way it is translated in English is caste system. Okay. Varna Vyavastha. And this topic, what we generally see is those who are really interested in understanding it, they will try to understand and put in their best to understand what is Bhagavan trying to say. And those who are not interested in understanding it, no matter how much you explain, what example you give, that communication just doesn't happen. So I hope we will listen with an open mind. It is something that we all have to understand for ourselves first before telling anybody what is our understanding of Varna Vyavastha. Varna, that word, the Sanskrit etymology is Varnyate anena iti varnaha. Varnyate means that by which we can define a personality. Varnanam we know, right? Katha Varnanam we do. Describe something, we say iska Varnan karo. Varnan means you describe. So that which will help us identify our personality, that is called as Varna. Or that by which a personality can be described. That is called as Varna. And whenever you have to describe something, whenever you have to think about something, classification is unavoidable. Take any topic for that matter. You want to analyze plant kingdom. So you'll have to divide it into some categories: bryophytes, thallophytes, pteridophytes. And then you can analyze within that. Means you can help identify the nature of that particular group of plants, second group of plants, third group of plants. So whenever thinking is to be done, whenever we have to analyze anything, classification or dividing it into groups is unavoidable. In fact, it will help us identify the right things in the right way. Now, when it comes to human personalities, our Shastras said, even there, if you want to identify our inherent personality traits, classification is unavoidable. Now, before we go to Shastriya definition, let us take an example from day-to-day world. In classical Shastriya way, what do we say? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Right? These are the four categories. Just like plant kingdom can be divided into 4 ways or 4+ ways. Human beings, our tendencies also can be divided into 4 ways, 4 categories: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. This we had seen in the first chapter also. Any institute you take, any company you take, you will need people who have these 4 tendencies. They might not call it by the name Brahmana, but that kind of skill set is unavoidable. So somebody is more thinking oriented. They can have the foresight. They can see not only today, but 25 years down the line, 50 years down the line. What we otherwise call as the think tank. Right? That will be one group of people. Then you will have the second group, which needs to protect the resources which are there. Right? In any company, you will have the legal team, which has the IP, proprietary rights and other things, which they will take care of. Make sure that whatever we are developing inside, there is nobody from outside coming and taking it away. Right? People should feel secure in that company. So some people need to have that kind of thinking. And of course, they have other roles along with it. I'm just hinting the main roles. That is the second type. Third type are those who will bring resources. Right? They have to bring projects in. They have to bring that funds in. They have to build connections with others. That is why we have all this, associations, forums, conferences. So that is the third group. And then the fourth group is implementers. Right? They are more of hands-on, and they are the ones who will actually accomplish the work to the final point. Okay, think tank, those who are protectors, those who are bringing resources, and fourth category who are implementers. Now these 4, it is very rare to find somebody who has an aptitude for all of it. This is what we generally find. Some area is our core competence. Right? We are not good at everything, but we are good at something. And if we can find the right fit, and if we can help others accomplish their role in their own areas, he said that whole team will flourish. That is the beauty of defining roles. That is the beauty of forming groups and putting the right people in the right place. So this is the whole idea behind Varna Vyavastha. That person becomes more focused on what they are doing. That person feels more valued at what they are doing. And through that, they are able to grow in their life. Okay, this is the Varna Vyavastha. From Varna only, from those groups alone, comes Dharma. Dharma is never generically defined, or Swadharma in particular. Swadharma means what? What is my dharma right now? That will be defined by the role that I am playing. Meaning, what is expected from, let us say, an intern in a office is very different from what is expected from somebody who has spent 25, 30 years in that office. What is expected from the sales group or the business group is very different from what is expected from the legal group. Legal group, more and more, they should be confidential about information, whereas the other team has to be very smart and alert about how much to share with others. Because if you don't share anything, how will other people come to know about this company, right? So everybody has a very predefined and a very specific role. And more honest we are, more committed we are to fulfilling that role, more we'll be valued in that place, happier we will be. When we join any workplace, first day they will give us that orientation package, right? And what does that have? Everything that I should do and things I should not do. That is what is called as Swadharma. Okay, one meaning of Swadharma is that according to the role that I have taken or that has come to me, my duties in life will be defined. In Shastriya way, the same understanding they took, and they said 4 varnas that we are going to create is Brahmana, who have the same tendency or the aptitude to be more thinking oriented. Kshatriya are those who will protect and make sure that everybody prospers. You know, sign of a king is not only how much wealth he has. Sign of a king is how wealthy the people in the kingdom are. Wealthy meaning how well-to-do they are, how much their needs are met. If you read Ramayana, there is an elaborate description of the people of Mithila Nagari. Elaborate description of people of Ayodhya. This is the portion when Bhagwan's wedding is taking place. And there Goswamiji goes on elaborately describing how the streets of Ayodhya were, how the streets of Mithila was, and how content people were. That just shows how great their king was. Right? Videharaj Janak Maharaj is knowing Brahma Vidya and having that insight. So that is Kshatriya. Vaishya are those who will be the risk takers, if you want to call. Because in business, if you have to do trade, it needs a special kind of vritti, special kind of personality. Now, somebody who is a researcher or some kind of intellectual oriented person, that person you bring and put him in trade business, they will miserably fail. Intellectual trying to become a politician will miserably fail. I try not to take any names, but I'm very sure you must be knowing many examples. Those who are very successful in their professional life, wanting to become a politician, he says this mixing of varna will not work. Because your tendency is not that, right? A reporter comes and puts a tough question or a tricky question. This politician gets worked up. Why? Because he doesn't know what is the way to answer those kind of questions. His background is intellectual. He is very good in analyzing technical problems. Now you put him in another varna, that will be a disaster. And then Shudras are those who like more of hands-on work. Right? So that is their skill set. And each varna, whatever skill set they have, is not only for their group, it is to serve everybody else. This point we should note, highlight it or mark it somewhere. Brahmana cannot say, I will think only for myself. Kshatriya cannot say, I will protect only my family members. Means of that royal family, only they will be protected. I don't know about others. Trader also cannot say, Vaishya also cannot say, I will make wealth only for myself. So like this, all varnas which are there are meant to support other three and themselves, of course. Because when this happens, we will have a healthy society. When we know what is our inherent aptitude, our inherent tendency, and we find an appropriate place to exhaust those tendencies, great results will come out from that society. Okay, this is our Varna Vyavastha. Why did we discuss Varna Vyavastha? Because when you say Swadharma, it cannot be generic. Just like you cannot have generic responsibilities for everybody in the office, you might have certain basic qualities, right? Means moral code of conduct, those things would be the same. So in Dharma also we have Ahimsa, Satya, Kshama, those qualities are common. Samanya Dharma it is called. But what should I do in my life? How can I be content and happy? That answer will not come through this generic guidance. For that, I need to know which group in this society do I fit in. Okay, this was more at a broader level. Now let us come a little more specific now. Many times we have this question, what is this Swadharma and how does it come about? Means how will I be able to recognize my Swadharma? It is said, Swadharma is formed out of two things. Means Swadharma gets shaped because of two things. One is the karma that we have done in the past. The karma that we have done in the past brings results in our life today. It brings situations in our life today. And that situation itself becomes my varna, it becomes my role. And according to that, my Swadharma will be determined. If somebody has put in a lot of effort to, let us say, become a sports person, now that karma has been done and that karma will give results. So right now, it could be because of all those karmas that I have done, I'm in a place where I have to be a sports person. And according to that, I will have some kind of Swadharma that I have to follow. But while doing that karma, I have also built my own Swabhava. This is that critical part, that my tendencies, my impressions are getting built drop by drop. Sometimes we realize that we go and join a university for one program. But while you are doing your study there, while you are doing something, some other Swabhava creeps in, right? Means you get interest in something else. You started with engineering, but in between you felt some taste for music. So that taste, that Swabhava, will also contribute towards identifying our Swadharma. Means we will feel that there is something which is naturally drawing me towards. I'm able to do it even if people don't want me to, or even if other people say that I should not be doing it. But remember, that second line we should mark of this shloka, that thing which I think is my Swadharma should be in accordance with Dharma. Means I should not take something which is an addiction or some kind of Nishiddha and then try to justify it under Swadharma category. Oh, this comes naturally to me. We are not talking about that example. We are talking about those skill sets or whichever Swabhava that we have generated, created, which becomes responsible for our taste of today. our mind naturally goes towards that thing where it has a taste for it. If somebody has a taste for music, then even if other people say, what are you practicing all the time? Where are you going to go with this? So that person says, this is my inherent swabhava. If I'm able to hit the right note, that gives me a lot of joy. How will you understand what that joy is? Because this is swadharma. I only know what is my swabhava. So two things. Okay, one is karma decides our swadharma. Means based upon whatever we have done in the past, we get presented with situations in life, roles in life. And according to the taste that we have developed gradually, drop by drop, our interests are getting shaped. And if I can choose something in that same swabhava that I have, then I'll be happier doing it. But I should be practical also. Will that swadharma or swabhava help me sustain myself? And if I say it is okay that even if this thing is not, supporting me as much, you say then at least do it on the side. Don't do it as your full-time thing. Follow it as a hobby. Follow it as a supporting thing. And when you feel comfortable that you can fully rely on this, then you switch. Okay, that is the practical aspect of swadharma. Swadharma does not always mean being rebellious, right? Oh, I like this, I will do this no matter what. It says if you do that, be ready for the consequence also. Right? Because I have chosen a path, I have chosen a goal, then I should not blame somebody else for that choice of mine. So with this, with attention on karma and on swabhava, he says, choose your swadharma. That swadharma should be ideally something which I can pursue for a long time, not something which comes and goes. And if we are able to find that, we are very blessed. Now there is somebody, who says, I understand all this. Swadharma, you should find your passion, you should find that thing which comes to you naturally. But life is not so predictable. I mean, just because I have interest in something doesn't always mean that I will be able to pursue it. Why? Look at the two things which were responsible. One was karma, another was swabhava. Whatever karmas I have done in the past, they will certainly give karma phalas. And if I am supposed to be doing something else because of my previous karma, no matter how hard I try, that role, that job, I cannot avoid. My swabhava might not be aligning with it right now. My taste might not be aligning with that job, but still, that is what I am presented with. We don't have to go too far to find an example. We should look at our own life. Whatever we ended up studying, whatever we ended up working for, can we say that everything we have only chosen for ourselves? That I chose which discipline I want to study, I chose which job I want to do, which company I want to work for. Some of it we might have chosen, but there were many things which were just given to us. Given in such a way that you cannot avoid it. I say that is how karma phala works. So then what is my choice? Right? I am ending up with this thing which I don't have taste for right now because my swabhava is different, but because of karma, I am helpless. I have to be in this situation. He says, Bhagwan's, this creation is very wonderful. He has given solutions right where the problems are. What is the solution? He says, between karma and swabhava, karma you cannot change of the past. It will bring karma phala. but you have full freedom to change your swabhava. Means our taste, what we have, if we have the right mindset, and if we spend sufficient time in any profession, this is, you will start getting taste over there. It could be a very mundane type of work, or what we feel is very mundane. It could be something which is not of my interest right now. He says, don't always look for the perfect place, the perfect job, all perfect. He says, try to switch your attitude towards that same work. Bring Bhagwan in that work. Find some meaning in what you are doing. And also understand this fact that all knowledge, any kind of job that we are doing, the source is ultimately Bhagwan only. The instruments are also Bhagwan, and the recipients of this work are also my Bhagwan. With that attitude, even if the situation that is presented to me, the job that is presented to me is not very in line with my aptitude, I can change my aptitude to match that particular profession. And this is a great mindset for a sadhaka, because our purpose in life is not only to find a good job, which is, perfectly fitting all my criteria. I say that is not the only purpose of life. Purpose of life is to know nature of truth. And this particular job that I am assigned to, whatever has come my way, that will help me in my journey towards that truth. Okay, so with that attitude, in both cases, we will be happy. If we find something in line with our aptitude, nothing like it. But we ourselves see in our life that it is not always it is going to happen in that way. In spite of trying our best, if we have some situation which is different from our aptitude, we say that Swabhava is very well under our control. Spend time there, do sadhana, study Bhagavad Gita more, then that same job which looked so mundane will start revealing something new. The people with whom we work, even that will find more meaning in it. Bhagavan says, this Swadharma, if you give up, he says that is not appropriate. From Swadharma standpoint also, if you are looking at situation, looking at life, Arjuna, you should go and fight this war. Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitum arhasi. Now, what is the nature of this Swadharma? Or what is the nature of this situation which is presented in front of you? That Bhagavan explains in next verse. We will just chant it, meaning we will see later. Yadruchaya chopapannam swargadvaramapavrutam sukhina kshatriyah partha labhante yuddhamidrusham yadruchaya chopapannam swargadvaramapavrutam sukhina kshatriyah partha labhante yuddhamidrusham. Bhagavan says this is a situation that has come to you unasked. This war which is there, it is Dharma Yuddha, one, and it has come to you by itself. Means you did not start this thing first. Yadruchaya chopapannam swargadvaram apavrutam. And Arjuna, in first chapter, you gave so many logic and reasons why you should not fight. Because you will go to Naraka, and our ancestors will go to Naraka. He says, no. If somebody follows their Swadharma to the dot, or are trying to follow it to the dot, he says for them, journey hereafter is very well taken care of. And even while they are over here, they'll be very happy. Means, even if you look at our daily experience, right? Whenever we do a job well, and in particular, if we have taken up a job in spite of challenges, and we are able to accomplish it, that gives a great sense of contentment, which other external objects cannot give. Right? Serving somebody in spite of challenging situations, he says that will be much greater than you running away from this battlefield. Sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrusham. He says Kshatriyas find great delight in fulfilling their duty, and in particular, if it comes to this particular duty of protecting your kingdom. He says, who will be not happy with such a role in their life? Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. There were some questions from last time, and I'm sure this Swabhava Swadharma topic, it's a topic where many questions come up. We ourselves are trying to understand, where is my Swadharma lying, right? So that is where these questions will be. If it can be more specific and with an example, that will help us understand the question better, reflect on it better. So I would encourage all of you doing that. And of course, names are anonymous, so none of it will be shared. In the last Bhagavad Gita class, you had said, I am a product of my karma, but I am not the victim of my karma. Can you elaborate on this point? Right. So this is one of the fundamental points of Karma Siddhanta, that Karma Siddhanta is not a fatalistic view, that, whatever is happening is because of karma. What it says is, whatever is happening right now is because of my own karma of the past. So karma phala I cannot change, but my pratikriya I can change. Pratikriya means what? Towards that situation, towards that, what is my response? He said that is fully under my control. And there is no better example than our Bhagwan Ramchandra ji. Right? That night when he said that next morning you have to go to forest, 14 years, and Bharatji will be made the king. He says his face was Sukha Dukkhe Mukhe Prabha. In Yoga Vasishta, one line comes that his face did not show any sign of ecstatic joy when he was said, you will be made the king tomorrow. And when he was told to go to forest the next day, there was no lot of sorrow on his face, very balanced. And later on, Bhagwan Ramchandra ji meets Valmiki Maharshi, and Valmiki ji asks, what has happened? Can you tell me something? That why are you here? You should have been in Ayodhya right now. So Bhagwan says, Valmiki ji, you know everything, but let me tell you, I have been blessed with so many things in life in the last few days. He says, my dear Bharatji has become the king of Ayodhya. My father could hold on to his words. My mothers gave me blessing to go to this Vanavasa. And previously he had said, my father has made me the king of the forest. He was supposed to make me the king of Ayodhya, but he made me the king of forest, and for 14 years I will enjoy satsang over there. I will meet Rishi Munis. What can be a greater blessing? Now imagine if there was somebody else in that situation, what would be their way of responding? See, they could have blamed Kaikeyi. They could have blamed Dasharath Maharaj. How can he be the king and give such words, without thinking? So response of a sadhaka, response of somebody who has studied Vedanta to the same situation, which is result of karma phala, or which itself is karma phala, will be very different. Right? So I might be a product of my past because of my previous karma. So there are so many stories that go along, right? Stories, or rather the hetus which are given, that Naradji had cursed before. In Ramayana only that story comes, when Naradji gets angry with Bhagwan and then he curses Bhagwan that you will be separated from your wife and so on. So there might have been so many reasons because of which I am going through what I am going through right now. But that doesn't mean I have to become helpless for what is going to come in the future. Right? That is this karma siddhanta. I like that one example which I had read in a book written by Chandrasekhar Bharti Swamiji from our Sringeri Matha. It's called Dialogues with the Guru. Beautiful book. It's a Q&A with a sadhaka. And there he is discussing this point about prarabdha and purushartha. Right? And his conclusion is, he explains it with an example, a very beautiful example. He says, on a wall, if you have hit a nail, right? Let us say you hit a nail on a wall 10 times. Okay, 10 times you hit on that nail. And 20 years after, you come back and now you want to pull that nail out. You try to pull it once, it doesn't come. You try to pull it again, it doesn't come out. He says, until you pull it out at least 10 times, the same amount of effort that you had put before, plus something more, it won't come out. Right? But what I should remember is, I am that person who had hit on that nail n number of times before. Today, I might not remember it. Right? 20 years down the line, when I'm seeing that nail, I might not remember what I have done in the past, but that is what it is. Right? Nobody else is responsible for that particular action. But I have all freedom how much effort I want to put right now. Right? To pull it out, he says that is your purushartha right now. What you are presented with is your prarabdha. And they are not two different things. It is only separated by time, which is why it looks like two different things. And we discuss it also as two different things. He says purushartha of today becomes prarabdha of tomorrow. Right? That is something we can think about. In the context, when we are performing karma, you mentioned that there is karma phala data. Does that mean that karma phala data is different from the doer? With conditioning, yes. With the conditioning of this body, mind, if this individual is the jiva, which is karta, jiva by itself or jiva itself cannot be the result, the giver of results. There has to be something or some other entity which will be karma phala data. Otherwise, if I could decide on what has to be the result of this karma, I will never seek unfavorable result. Right? No matter which exam I write, I will say I want to top that exam. No matter which karma I do, I will say that I have to get favorable result only. And like that, if there are two jivas trying to seek different results for the same action, you say, how is that possible, right? In a sports match, there are two teams, and if both could decide result of their action, both teams would want to win. He says we can only decide what is our effort that we want to put, there is some other entity which will give the final result. Right? So that way, Karma Phaladata is our Bhagwan. But most importantly, we should develop Sambandha with Bhagwan. Right? Because he gives not out of only like a judge. Right? He is not only somebody who is sitting up above and he gives results of our action like a judge. It is said he is very dayalu also. He is very compassionate. But it depends on what conditioning that we are looking up to Bhagwan with. What we saw in the beginning of the class, right? Whichever conditioning we have worn for ourselves, Bhagwan appears in that form. So for a sadhaka, for a devotee, even Narsimha Avatara is not frightening. Prahladji did not get afraid with Narsimha Avatara. Whereas all other great, Rakshasas who were there, they got afraid in front of Bhagwan's Narsimha Avatara. Because Prahladji's upadhi, his conditioning with which he was looking at Bhagwan was as a devotee. So Bhagwan appears in Saumya Rupa to that person. Okay, we'll pause here. More we will see next time. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.